Hello fans of Marvel Heroes and friends of my channel, my name is Wilfred and welcome to this episode on Nick Fury, the Endgame guide. If you like this video, do check out the description below. There are more videos organized at the the latest update kind of version for you guys to watch. Now, I've done a couple of videos for Nick Fury, so I've done some gearing, some kind of like a cosmic trial, also a little bit on the theory crafting part of it. So this is the really real deal, the guide itself after many hours of playing Nick Fury and finding the build that possibly worked best for him while still playable. Now, in this part of the video, I'm going to give some overview on Nick Fury based on my experience, some suggestion on what Gazillion could make Nick Fury better. Second part of the video, deep dive into the power trait as well as the talent on why I'm making certain decisions on playing him. And last but not the least, I'm going to go through some of the cosmic terminals and just to showcase to you how he plays like in real life. Alright, so now, first thing first, I think suffice to say, if you follow my videos before, I am not that impressed with the whole Nick Fury design. Now, there are a couple of areas that I would like to highlight to you in case you are thinking of whether or not you unlock it right now, or you have unlocked it right now and sort of like see whether you are also having the same issue as other people, like Common Voice. So here we go. First thing first, I found that his main spender, the one that use ammo, is the design is a little bit odd, because if you look at just strip away all the gear, all the infinity point and everything else, the single target range is actually lower DPS than the channeled area count damage. Now, design wise a little bit odd. You could always argue that the area power use more ammo, henceforth is stronger, but it never really quite seen in other heroes designed that way. Secondly is that as you gear up, when attack speed comes in, the main power that a single target actually works better than the area power, which is kind of a little bit odd to use the endgame gear to sort of like to make it outperform the other. I'd rather say that the channel area kind of like a power is lacking of the affixes affected by the attack speed. So if you look at other heroes, whenever there is a channeled power, some of them are being affected by the attack speed to make it relevant at the end game. So it's just a little bit odd on the main power side. Second of all, I think a lot of us have been expecting Nick Fury as a director of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be a summoner, so he should be a legitimate summoner. But having said that, I think suffice to say, for those who have played Nick Fury, probably would agree with me that his summoner power is just so kind of like odd, in a sense. Gazillion has moved all the summon kind of power into a talent decision, which is kind of fine. But the problem is that the summons are like a quasi summon. They do not. I mean, although some of the summon Dum Dum Dugan, they use gun, but it's not affected by the ranged kind of damage type. So it's very, very odd. The way that you gear it doesn't really help the gear the summoner in some sense. Find it really, really odd to relate to. Another thing is that the summon died rather fast as well. If you play him as the summoner, you realize that his summon being called upon, a long animation. Whenever he's in combat, he's at up to 4 summon who comes in to help. But then, when there is a boss mechanic, sure, they will die. And after they die, it takes them a couple of seconds to slowly come down from the sky again to help you. So it's just rather odd compared to other summoners. So the summon option is like possibly the only option to have some sort of DPS from Nick Fury, but yet it is not fun, not interactive. And the only power that interact with the pet is being locked behind a fresh clip, kind of like a reloading mechanism that I'll talk a little bit about it later. So my main issue with that is that there isn't any non-summoner options that is as viable as a summoner. So now take that in mind, that for example, if you play other heroes like maybe Kitty Pryde, if you don't like Lockheed for whatever reason, there is a really viable version of not using a summon. It still can deal decent damage kind of thing. But for Nick Fury, there isn't really like an option not to use like at least some of the summon power, because the trade-off is so like off the chart that you have got to pick the summon, but it's just not that fun. So that is the point number 2. Number 3 is the main kind of like issue with the Nick Fury design, is this whole ammo thingy. Now there are some power that will use ammo, and there are some power that would sort of like like this one here that would sort of like use. And you cannot recharge this one. There's no like cooldown kind of thing. You have to go and use up everything until it become like totally red. And after that, when you refresh the clip here, you gain a really huge buff. And the buff is not to be ignored. It's 20% base power buff for as long as you are until the next reload. So it is a buff like 800 damage rating buff that you cannot ignore. So, and then after that you refresh that. Now, on paper, this is fantastic in some sense that it is not a boring cooldown kind of hero. Like you trigger some power like this one, like this one, like this one, like this one, and then everything on cooldown. Then you have nothing else to do. So on paper, by the way, it took them a couple of seconds to come down from wherever they are. So it is not as boring as just mashing up cooldown. So you can like control where you do a cooldown. So you could potentially have a lot of like burst damage, and after that you have to wait until the next ammo come, and then you have another burst damage. I think it is being designed, or at least the philosophy being thought that way. But there are many issues with that. If you play with Nick Fury in real life, and I hope that Gazini has actually played him through some of this tournament and so on, it is not unusual that at the end of the fight, say, because this build doesn't really use a lot of these kind of charges, but there are actually other build options out there that would use other charges as well. And as and when you use those types, like for example, after the end of the boss fight, like you are doing daily bugle, you've done with Grim Reaper, next target is Tombstone, right? So you have used up some ammo, but everything is off the cooldown. You burn all your cooldown power. So what do you do as Nick Fury, right? So you stand here, the boss is already dead, and you unload all the bullet there. I don't know how long it takes. And then you click like, and you reload, and they're going to fight. I mean, I don't think in real life, or in, not in real life, of course, like all these are just fantasy, but, in any comic book, do you see like Nick Fury and say, oh, hang on a second, I've unloaded all my grenade, let me just unload all my gun ammo first, and then after that, oops, I got my grenade with me. It doesn't work that way, right? I mean, it's just dumb in some sense. And to further escalate the whole thing, so for example, you finish off some fight here, you use up some ammo, some of this cooldown power you have used, and then you zoom into another zone, like for example, Daily Bugle is a good example. You have so many loading screen, and then after that, all my ammo is reloaded again. It said, what? I have to go and unload everything at the beginning of the instance, and then after that, click out, and then after that, oh, I've got my charges back, right? So that is kind of dumb, the whole design. Another thing is that this whole visualization is extremely poor. So you would have thought that when the things start to turn like red, I have to somehow be a little bit careful. Like this time, like it start to turn red, but tell you this is not the right time to click. There's a different shade of red here. This is a darker shade of red that you should not use this one, because you'll be penalized by not having the buff and the cooldown kind of reduction. 5 seconds out of 15 seconds is a lot. So you have to like go a bit deeper, Like this is bright red. So bright red is the time that you should click. But then guess what? Because for whatever reason, the ammo keep coming back into his pocket. And then after that, this is not a bright red again. So it's a different shade of red. Now, in the heat of the moment, when you're trying to kill the bosses and so on, this is very, very kind of like, unfriendly. Now, of course, you can use up everything. And after that, you say, oops, oh, I clicked too much. And then this reloads so fast until I cannot use a clip sometimes, because my clip is still on cooldown. Like, for example, I use a clip here. And after that, I do all the way. And then after that, I say, okay, no, okay, stop here. Okay, hang on. I should not use my bullet anymore, because I'll take penalty. And then after that, you say, oops, oh no. Say, oh no, I missed the opportunity, right? I mean, sometimes when there are so many object or mob type on the map, it's very easy to just click onto any mob and use up some ammo that you're not supposed to. So this kind of gameplay, I mean, would Nick Fury hold on to a last bullet and say, you know, hey, hang on, I've got a couple of bullets left, but I cannot use it because I need to reload at that right moment. It doesn't make sense, right? No one designed game like that. It's just weird. So that is my main complaint about his clip design. And there are many bugs. I think if you use the target down or end it kind of like a combo, whatnot, you can see that sometimes the cooldown doesn't get refreshed as it should be. And there are some times when I click a power, like right now it works. No, it doesn't. Okay, so I have to click like I don't know how many times. Like if you saw it just now, I clicked the power for I don't know how, like 4 or 5 times before the war machine actually come down. And that kind of bug, and sometimes I just keep clicking and nothing happened, although it shows me that, you know, it is a legit kind of thing that I can click on, but it just doesn't click. I cannot fire off the power at all. So that is a mad bug. And also guess what? His ultimate is invulnerable for 10 seconds, right? So I was in Daily Bugle fighting Vulture. I said, whoa, I buffed up myself, you know, big time. I've got like a 40% from my Born Eater. I've got another 10%. I got 50% kind of like 2,000 damage rating kind of buff already, and then plus another 10% multiplication kind of buff. I'm going to kill Vulture using my ultimate. Guess what? Once I pop the ultimate, it died. He dies in the middle of the ultimate. Like just 1 second in the ultimate, he dies. Like how can it be, right? I mean, it's like there are bugs like that is just not nice to play. But the last of all, I think the whole thing that if you look at the Nick Fury all in all, all these kind of design issue and so on, and I think the last thing that Nick Fury is a little bit hard when it comes to design wise is the power distance, because some of them require him to be at melee distance, some of them require him at the mid distance, and his main spender is actually at very far distance. So you need to move him around quite a fair bit. And with the whole mobility update after the biggest update ever, that make him really clunky to play, because you need to keep positioning him in a right kind of like a radius in order to hit certain targets, and make it extremely hard to play as well. With all the charges that now become very limited, very precious, then you end up a lot of walking. Now when you're walking, you're not using ammo. When you're not using ammo, you don't have the opportunity to refresh it so as to refresh all your cooldown and stuff like that if you use charges. So that make it even more harder to play and not that enjoyable. Alright, now all this criticism aside, I just want to make it real. So I'd like to just share my honest, genuine opinion with you. But what can Gazillion help to make him a better hero? I think Gazillion should focus on making Summoner really work. Like the Summoner, I mean, he's a director of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? I mean, he should be able to summon quite a fair bit of intelligent kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents to do something, not just like a glorified team up multiplied by 4, but like a good number of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that does something for him, in front, kind of like tanking the thing, I don't know. I mean, some superhero that come along as well. There should be, they should not die that fast, and they should be more intelligent. The animation should be a lot faster to come into action, because director of S.H.I.E.L.D. say, I want your help right now. I command you to go there, do something, right? Then they should really do it. Or alternatively, or actually, in addition, they should make a non-summoner work, meaning that they should make it an option whereby he can go solo, commando, and he's a really strong commando, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. on his own right. That is fine too, but they have to make it work. They cannot just having the summon so much more powerful in the talent kind of thing, and then make the non-summon option just not a viable option, right? So that is number one. Number two, they have got to really rework the entire fresh clip kind of like a game mechanic. This mechanic is stupid and it's not fun. I mean, my apologies when being very honest here. No one want to play a hero whereby I say, oops, no, give me a couple of seconds, let me empty my clip so that I can get a buff. No one does that. The buff has to be something more intuitive, something more like a bonus to play along, but it's not too penalizing on the whole thing, because 5-second additional time for cooldown in the next cycle, whereby you miss opportunity to deal decent kind of damage, is really a huge penalty for missing that line that is really hard to see. And for goodness sake, just redo the visual of this one. If it is red, means that I can click it, kind of thing, you know, or make it auto. Like, you know, whenever I go into red, it auto reload. Some of the talent does the auto reload kind of thing. It make it really intuitive. So you don't need to have this one on the hotbar for those who love it, which I doubt anybody do. You could have it on the hotbar. And then guess what? Maybe after each boss die or after you go out of combat, you do an auto reload that gain the buff again, right? So you don't need to keep penalizing people on that. But that's just my thought. And he has got to have a lot more charges to it. So for example, there are some power that require him to go in. Like for example, even the signature has a radius to it, and if you are not within that radius, you cannot hit it. So what I need to do is that I have to roll in, explode, and roll out. So I lost 2 charges just by doing the signature. So I think suffice to say, if they can work something like additional charges, if you do this power, like after you've done the signature, you gain back 1 or 2 charges, or some of the power that require to go a little bit closer, like danger close as well. You know, this one here, you have to go to that 2.5 step, you know, within the 2.5 step. So for example, if I'm a bit further, then it will not be hitting the target, the danger close target, sort of thing. So, you know, if I use this one, I may get charges so that I can get back out again. I mean, these are very, very interesting mechanic. That's what I feel. And then the whole ammo reload, really, I mean, you know, they should forget about this whole design. That you've done it on other heroes, is really not working, and you do it in Nick Fury with a mandatory kind of like reload, that is really horrible. So there are some like criticism, some kind of ideas on Nick Fury. So as to give you an idea, now if you say to yourself, say that, okay, look, Wilfred, I've heard all these stories, and I'm fully aware that you know, Nick Fury is having some kind of like, you know, fundamental design flaw or issues, but I still love to play him because he either A, you unfortunately unlocked it, you know, like one of us, or B, you say that I'm a big fan of Nick Fury. I've been waiting for Nick Fury for years, and now Nick Fury is out. I have got to have him. Then the next part of the video is for you, because I've come up with a build, looking through the numbers as well this time round, to give you some idea of how to really play him rather comfortably, but there's still a lot of like things that you need to watch out, and I'll show you in the Cosmic Terminal clip as well. All right. Now let's take a look at Nick Fury's talent, power, and trait, and to sort of like, you know, I would like to show you which are the one that you should consider picking based on the numbers that I've gone through. And if you are interested to know a little bit more about number, because you can't really take my word for it, do check out my video before, one video before on Nick Fury. Then I go through the spreadsheet with all the numbers and everything else. He's a fighting hero and intelligence hero. Nothing. I mean, basically you just need to you know, spec accordingly to everything that you do. In terms of the artifact power, in terms of you know, some of these catalysts, in terms of any gear that with the art type that matches is kind of nice. Fighting is kind of nice as well. You know, so you just have to make sure that you get quite a fair bit of fighting. It gives you a crit rating multiplier. Work quite well with this crit hit damage kind of like a trait here. He used ammo, and so I've talked a lot about ammo already, so I'm not going to talk too much about the ammo. The third thing is that he's a deflect dodge hero, so it's very, very fragile. Very much like a glass cannon. Pretty low health as well if you don't gear him kind of right, rightly. I think onto the survivability, my big advice to you is that via the Infinity system, try to get at least 1 extra charges and also gain a charge while using Mech Kit. So as you know that I have macro everything up to do a Mech Kit on cooldown. So whenever I've got a Mech Kit, I use it, and it helps me a lot because Nick Fury really need to dash quite a fair bit of in and out, and to do that you require charges. You get 1 charges from Infinity System if you spec in a certain kind of term, and the second one is that you know, you after you use a med kit you can charge. Those kind of really good thing to have as well. My advice to you, I find it a lot more enjoyable once I have more charges that I can run around a little bit. All right. First thing first, first here, I've gone through the numbers, not going to go through again. This is basically the only options out there because the it's actually hitting quite a fair bit of DPS coming from Dum Dum Dugan, provided that he's around and he's really doing something. Second one is that also no-brainer here. The drone strike doesn't really add up, you know, even after transforming the eyes in the sky, doesn't really add up into you know, power that will compete with the CQC. Having said that though, for some of you who really absolutely hated the whole ammo management kind of thing, I would say use this one, the eyes in the sky, and instead of using the fire in the hole vulnerability debuff, use this instead. Then your life become a lot easier and simpler. You just need to manage your different shade of red. Whenever it's become really red, use a fresh clip. That is all that you have. It may take you 15 seconds to complete 1 cycle. It may take you 10 seconds to complete 1 cycle. It doesn't matter because you are not constrained by the fact that after each boss fight you have to empty all the ammo and then refresh it again so as to refresh all your charges. So this is one option, but bear in mind that you'll drop quite a fair bit of the DPS here because you don't have the multiplier. It's not advisable, but if you really hated the way that the whole charges and ammo and fresh clip work, that is one option for you to do. All right. Then the next tier is that making war actually quite a good DPS layer compared to say the medic fire team. So I would strongly recommend using that. And anything that doesn't use charges, just a standard vanilla cooldown power, is a good thing when it comes to this very broken design of Nick Fury. So I advise upon that. Next tier, I mean, you could try to do a end it or target down. I work out the number. It is still not, like, you know, it's probably comparative, but then this is very much like a single target kind of thing, although you can argue that this is also a single target in some sense. So it really depends upon you. If you like to work the end it target down, then you have 2 extra power that require charges on your hotbar. Now the philosophy of this build may or may not be the most optimal one, but at least it's the most playable one, is that you want to minimize the number of charges that you require and still, you know, being able to do a decent job. So I would advise just get one of these minigun inventory. Last but not the least, the shot on all is that it would, you know, danger close is you get 2 extra strike when, you know, cooldown reduction. This is actually not that fantastic anyway. But I mean, between these two, you can actually think about whether you should reset the cooldown for all non-signature power. Actually, I think, you know, this is also quite viable if you want to do that as well. I may actually try it in the terminal. So this is up to your play style. If you want to reset the cooldown on non-signature powers, you could do that. You know what? I want to demonstrate something here. This is what reset the cooldown of non-signature power, right? So if I use all these 1, 2, 3, 4, then I use this one. So this one will reset everything again, because I have seen that this one doesn't get reset. So I guess, you know, in some sense, since it works, because I've seen it not working before. I've used this one, and this one doesn't get reset, and I was a little bit upset. So I think looking back at the whole thing, I would suggest do this one instead, so you can do quite a fair bit of, like, you know, rebuff yourself. All right, so now that is the talent, power, and trait. So I hope you got the idea of how things have been lined up. I think this is quite a, you know, important decision. Just use this one instead. I tested it, didn't quite work last time. Now looking at his other power wise, let me just move away from this guy here because it could get a bit noisy. Looking at this guy here, I've done up the study. Your main spender have either triple tap, which is a basic power, which I do not advise wasting 1 slot. Already he's underwhelming, so if you don't want to use a fresh clip, you know, it's still not worth it to use a triple tap. So between open fire and covering fire, I know one is more of like an area, but this channel power is not affected by attack speed, so what for getting it. So I would say just use open fire. Impressively, the vulnerability power, it doesn't suck. This power actually does quite well in terms of the layer itself, more so because it's a multiplier. I would not advise using team up as a vulnerability debuff, because team up sometimes you got stuck some mobs down the road while you're hitting bosses, and sometimes the team up doesn't really hit your target, so I will not use a team up to apply vulnerability debuff. I'll do it myself. And good news is fire in the hole is actually pretty high. You could actually do a target down and end it and target down kind of like combo, but like I said, I want to minimize the exposure of this kind of very flawed mechanic, so I'm not using those. You could. This one is not worth it. I work out the number. So I would say use Making War, like I mentioned before, as a second power. Danger Close is a very decent layer as well, but it's just that you have to be really dangerously close. So remember, you have to close it in and do it Danger Close. Now, that's it. Then you have the signature power that is being augmented by the reset cooldown non-signature power. I swear I've seen a bug before that it didn't refresh the flash clip. But anyway, the last power that I would like to recommend to you is not Lola Unknown. Some people actually wanted Lola Unknown. There are a couple of reasons why. First of all, as 12-second cooldown power for 43,000 damage is extremely low. The DPS layer is non-existent. It buffs your summon, yes, but how many times when you look at boss and wonder, where are my summons? Are they dead? Yes, they are. Have they come down from the heli carrier yet? No, they haven't. They're still somewhere up there drawing a line to come down in. So don't waste your time doing this. You have a lot better things to do, like buffing yourself for 40% and buffing the summon for another 25%. I mean, between this and this one is no-brainer. 40% is tremendous. It's 40 times 40 is 1,600 damage rating on top of whatever that you have, like from the eye from the sky never say die as well. So that is like really good. So take this one, and it's good because another power to pop, and it's not constrained by the whole fresh clip kind of thing. So it's wonderful. I think I've covered quite a fair bit. Drone Strike is just not. The DPS wise is just not making it, so I would not recommend. So I think I've covered quite well on all the powers that are available, why I'm choosing this, and basically when it comes down to elimination and play styles, this is basically the only option that we have. So now I'm very keen to show it to you how this build is in action, so stay tuned for the next bit of the video. Nick Fury, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. In the Daily Bugle, I'm using mostly pre-2.0 gears, a grade 70 legendary or ranked up to 5s. Nothing to cheer about, very fundamentally basic. He does a couple of things, and let me just demonstrate to you as I'm playing. So I'm not going for kill time here, I'm just like showing to you how to do it, how his build works. And I always advise you, because his bike is a bit clunky to do U-turn, always turn the heroes first before you're using a bike. I mean, that is how I usually roll. And turn the hero first and then use a bike. Now, I want to get a buff first before I hit the next set of enemy. So I could actually do something like this, spend a couple of time and, oh, red. Okay, so now I'm buffed up, very highly buffed up. So I'm very awesome here. And just dump a few things here, maybe. Okay, a Born Eater, and then pop the signature. Oh, wonderful. Now usually I don't, by the way, his main power, open fire, pierce amount all the enemies. Now I usually turn the damage number off because it kind of like clutter my whole screen, but I like to turn it on for this video because I want to let you see that it does peer through. So covering fire, yes, it's an area damage, but it's not as strong as this one here, and it's nice. And so now, you see, by the time these 3 guys come in, the war is over. Hello, like, you guys are late, right? So that's what I'm saying, the whole summoner kind of thing doesn't work. Now guess what? I would like to recharge this one, so I can't right now. So what do? I stand here, right? And then I wait until it's really red, then refill. I say, ooh, I recharge myself, I buff myself. Right, and then I think my damage rating now is, I just want to make sure that 2981, my damage is 2981, base damage 330, so I zone in. Yeah, it's still the same. No. Is it like I'm just trying to see when I zoom in, do I get like a it's kind of weird. Anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to go in, kill something here, and the war machine here, danger close, and Born Eater, go and bomb, everybody dies, then come down here. I still have 1 charger, so I'll just use it. 1 charger here, I don't know how they teleport up there. Wonderful. So I've done it, and I just want to make sure that I hit all these things. Now I could, see, it does, these are teleporter, huh? These teleporter are jokers. Now, okay, I have to remember to use my flash clip. I remember not to use any of the other, like, you know, like the bomb power. You see, I cannot use my S, which is the war machine thingy, right? So you know how frustrating it is, right? I mean, I thought I could fly the war machine up and do area damage to the mobs there, but I couldn't. It's just power does not, is whatever it is reason. So it is just very, very odd. But anyway, now here, debuff, and then Born Eater, then, you know, signature. Now I'm truly awesome. Born Eater was, I clicked that, but it went a bit slow. Clip. No, I don't know why. Doesn't work. Yeah, 1 power doesn't work, but it's okay. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, if you love this game, you always make it work, even though when power doesn't work. So now, alright, so now I'm buff. See what I mean? You have to time everything quite nicely. Now I really have no idea why my making war is not working. That is really, really annoying. These are little bugs like this. I mean, suddenly 1 power is gone. Can you imagine how terrible it is? But he can stay out, by the way. Rhino. Okay, so I mean, that's nice. Now it works. Danger close is working as well. Wait a bit, don't click. Okay, now it's click the ammo. Oh, I cannot see it. Danger close. And okay, I hit it. You see, my my pets still like you know, keep like disappearing. All right, done. And guess what? After this, I need to make sure I empty the ammo here and I recharge 2 charges. Right, so it's just a bit of like very kind of like a daft design. All right, cool. Okay, so now I have to deal with Green Goblin, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and oh man, I clicked the wrong button. That's fine. Okay, so now I'm in business. Woohoo! Wait, don't do anything. Now it's recharged. Okay, so that's done. Next bit is the 2 extra bosses. So my crit is about 50%, Bluetooth is about 30%, nothing to shout about. I think it's just rather basic these days. You guys can have much better gear than I do. 3, 4, let me just refresh timing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, then I wait out a bit. Do 4. Okay, good. Danger close, and maybe just apply another vulnerability while we are at it. Oh, don't get killed by refresh. Danger close, vulnerability, and just another vulnerability. How about that? Eat it. So now I am alright. So I have to empty my clip until it's red, and then refresh. So it's kind of tedious, right? After a while, you can't get it, but it can be rather not nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3, Born Eater, and after that, signature and the well, you know, guess what? My war machine is not coming as well. Not coming down. Destroy totem. Born leader. Oh no, hang on. Use up my clip. So I'm actually looking at the clip window rather than the. Okay, red. Wait. Okay, now I can refresh. Born leader. Okay, so it's done. This is a classic example whereby I would need to loot first, and then the director of shield would say, wait, hang on, guys, don't go in yet. I need to do something, which is, of course, empty out the clips to get my charges up. Red, done. Right, so that I have 2 charges of vulnerability debuff and ready to face Vulture. I'm going to pop the ultimate here. Now, why is there two loading screen? I also don't know why. I mean, why can't they just do it like, you know, one shot there instead? All right, that is Vulture. Okay, ultimate is you. Okay, ultimate. I mean, his ultimate is rather kind of, I don't know why his out. I can't change the direction of it. Oh man, that is horrible. Now, why am I? That's so strange. Yeah, usually it's better. The ultimate somehow misses most of the time. I couldn't change the direction of Nick Fury, so that's another feedback for Gazillion. Why can't I change the direction of that like Green Goblin? Really? Right, so that's done. I've got the nothing really cheer about, some unique another costume, kind of whatever it is, catalyst, and some Rollstone, some XP, doesn't really scratch anything at all, another XP, and some rune, cash, and that's it. So I hope you got an idea how to play, you know, kind of Nick Fury. Where, you know, do let me know in the description below how you find him. Like, you know, do you like what you are seeing? Do you think that he's fun and so on? And if you like this video, do check out other guys of mine as well. Link below. There's more guys for you to watch. And leave me a comment here. I always try to, you know, interact with you over the YouTube. So thank you very much for your support. See you next time. Goodbye.